All right, these are your notes for 2.4, solving equations with variables on both sides. Make sure you're using Cornell notes and you wrote your essential question. Step 1, you want to combine like terms. Step 2, we're going to isolate the variable. And you always want to make sure when you're isolating the variable that you perform PEMDAS, or the order of operations, backwards. All right, let's do our first example now that I've zoomed in. We have 9x minus 2 equals 2x plus 12. First thing I want to do is combine like terms. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That's going to give me 9x equals 2x plus 14. Then I'm going to combine my x's to the other side because I added my numbers on the right. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And I'm going to end up with 7x equals 14. Now I'm going to isolate the variable by dividing by 7 on both sides, and I get x equals 14. Now when you're combining like terms, it doesn't matter whether you combine the x's first or the numbers first. You just make sure your x's go to one side and your numbers go to the other. And it doesn't matter if the x's go to the variables or the x's go to the left or the right and the numbers go the opposite. Just be consistent and try not to introduce any negative numbers or fractions if you don't have to. All right, let's do our second example. 4 times 2x minus 3 equals 3 plus 8x minus 11. So I'm going to combine like terms by first doing distributive property. So I get 8x minus 12 equals 3 plus 8x minus 11. I'm going to continue combining like terms by combining my numbers on the right-hand side, the 3 and the 11. So when I combine 3 and negative 11, I end up with negative 8. So I rewrite my whole equation again. 8x minus 12 equals 8x minus 8. Now I'm going to continue by combining my numbers on the right side. Just seeing, on the left side, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I did this to try and eliminate a negative, but I ended up still with negative 4. Again, it doesn't matter which way you go. You can do the x's first, you can do the numbers first. Now I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. I have to subtract the 8x from the left and move it to the right because otherwise I would end up with nothing left on the right. But in this case, I actually cancel out all my variables and I end up with negative 4 equals 0 because 8x canceled out on both sides. Negative 4 does not equal 0. It's not a true statement. So therefore, in this situation, their answer is no solution. And this actually solves your essential question. All right, let's do our next one. Our next one is actually going to be a word problem. We're going to do number 11 here. The table at right shows the cost of ordering t-shirts from 2 different companies. With how many t-shirts would the cost of the order be the same with both companies? What would that cost be? So this is actually 2 parts. It wants you to find the number of shirts that you would need and then what the cost is as well. All right, so first thing is we need to organize our information. I have Crazy Shirt Store. It's $8 per shirt and $13 for shipping. And then for the t-shirts for all, it's $7.50 per shirt and $16 for shipping. So if I write those as expressions, I'll get 8s plus 13 for the Crazy Shirt Store. And then for T's for all, I get 750 plus 16, or 750s plus 16. Then I'm going to set these 2 expressions equal to each other because if I look back in the problem, it asks at what cost will they be the same, which is an equal sign. So that gives me 8s plus 13 equals 750s plus 16. So I'm going to solve this by combining like terms. I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. I subtracted 13 and not 16, so that way I didn't end up with a negative number. I now have 8s equals 750s plus 3. And then I'm going to subtract 750s from both sides, and I subtracted 750 from 8 so that I'd end up with a positive 50 cents rather than negative 50 cents. In other words, don't introduce negatives if you don't have to. At this point, use a calculator to divide by 50 cents on both sides. and you'll find out that the answer is 6. So S equals 6, meaning I need to sell 6 t-shirts for the cost to be the same. The second half of this problem actually asks you to find the cost. So for 6 shirts, what would the cost be at the Crazy Shirt store and the T's for All? That means you need to go back and plug in 6 for S in each one of your expressions.